Welcome back to the SA Weekly Talk Show. Your host, Mike Callahan, here once again, bringing you knowledge from service industry professionals like myself for service industry professionals. So here at the SA Weekly Talk Show, I'm going to lift the hood of creating training systems for big profits and predictable profits. So it's not only enough to create those bottom line profits, we actually want to have predictable profits through predictable SOPs, standard operating procedures. So how do we go out and train our field staff and our office staff for proper operating procedures that are going to net result into big profits? So I'm going to dive in and show you what we've done in my company, specifically inside Service Autopilot and one other platform that is a learning hub that we built to do online video training. In addition, as an added bonus for anybody in the lawn care industry, I'm going to go over a way that you can break down potentially how you go in and set up your crews. So how many people here watching, if you put a comment in the live or public area, is when your mowing crew goes out, or your fertilization crew, or pretty much any crew for that matter. I'm going to give a lawn mowing example, but do we have a particular place they park? Is there a reason why they park at a certain spot? And what is the procedure for the weed whacking, the stick edging, the blowing, and the mowing? Where does it start? Where does it stop? And how do we start eliminating 5 or 6 minutes a job or an hour and start to drive bottom line profit? So it's not enough to set up pricing with budgeted time, but we also need to have a process and procedure inside the office as well inside the field to train the process and continue the process, because the budgeted time and the prices are only as good as the teams in the field actually following a process and procedure to hit those budgeted time with the quality constraints. So we're going to dive in, lift the hood, and show you how this all can be done inside your service business. So comments or questions in live or recorded version, put them in there. I'll be watching this for the next 24 to 48 hours, as we always do. But SA Weekly Talk Show, bringing you knowledge from seven-figure business experts like myself. So here we go. And without any further delay, we are going to pop open and take a look at this. So first thing that we are going to be looking at is inside a Service Autopilot form. What we've done is created workflow training. So this is actually a Service Autopilot form. So we've got 36 videos and 6 modules. In SA, we were unable to actually have testing in here. So we are going to show you another option that we did to evolve into even a higher level training. Then we're also going to show you how we utilize these Service Autopilot forms, not only for training in the office, but actually going into the field. So this is literally right out of Callahan's Lawn Care, where I made training videos for every piece of equipment in every service we did. So now all the training, everything was not in my head. It was now in the software, and we could run our new applicants through the mobile app or in the computer through the training for the software. So this is all natively built functionality-wise inside Service Autopilot, no extra cost. You can build these yourself. But basically what we've got is we've got a lawn mowing video, and then my other one was literally how to use a line trimmer. So we went through the process and workflow that I'm going to be going in when we dial into this map of our test client here of where do we park the truck? How do you determine where you park the truck? Where does the weed whacking start and end? What's the workflow? Where does the mower start and end? And where does the blowing start and end? So I'm going to go in and show you how we can actually create a video to teach this. And I'm going to give you a high level overview of kind of what was in that video and how we actually did it inside my company. So without any further delay, we're going to kind of dive into some different options that you can do inside your service business utilizing some of the tools inside Service Autopilot. So the first thing that we went into here is under the forms here, we tackled the office training first. So that was the biggest pain point when we had new admin as we continued to grow, or if you're using a virtual assistant. This is a great way to create concise training videos for your virtual assistant, so you don't have to be on the hook every time you have a new assistant come online or a new office admin. But the idea is they would fill it out, first name, last name, email. This is automated. So they would need email or text message that they need to fill out module 1 and watch it. And literally inside the form, they could click the video and literally going. So we're going in through lead acquisition via the website or office. So we understand what's going on. The next one is lead source tracking. We've got referral tracking. So how did they hear about us? Client acquisition, commercial versus residential property levels, and billing details. And the sixth and final video in this installment here is the gear icon. What's under it and how does it work? You'll notice these videos through multiple trial and error in this process are between 1 and 3 minutes, ideally. The first video is about 30 minutes and it goes high level overview. So what we've done here is built 6 modules with 6 videos each inside Service Autopilot that we would run our new administrative staff through for consistent training. So at that point, we went to the next level, and I'm going to jump into the SimpleGrowth Learning Hub as a certified advisor of Service Autopilot. So what we've done is taken that content we made there and now updated it and put it into this learning hub that we built. Now, this learning hub is mirroring exactly what we've built inside Service Autopilot. So if you're building this yourself, I think the best place to start is probably right inside Service Autopilot in the forms. And this is exactly how we did it for many years in my business, utilizing these forms at no extra cost inside Service Autopilot. But we're taking that knowledge silo in your head and disseminating it across the organization. So now every time we have a new administrative staff join, the business owner is not on the hook to train them for the next 2 to 3 weeks. We send them to the video training automated through the process inside Service Autopilot, and then we follow up with live one-to-one or virtual training now with COVID. So what we've done is taken this, and now to give you a peek under the hood, we've gone in and created a overview video, probably with complete crazy COVID hair locked in my basement last year. We have an overview video. We show them how to actually use the course. So if you're building this out, this is probably best practice. And we have the overview of the Service Autopilot workflow. So what does it look like? So if you were like me, when I first bought the platform, I ran to billing and scheduling because I needed to get paid and I needed to get the work done. But unfortunately, when you do that, you are going in and missing all the foundational pieces. So in the first 30-minute video training here in the overview area, just like it was in the Service Autopilot forms here, we are going in and giving them a high-level overview of the system from lead acquisition through billing, scheduling, fulfillment in the correct order. And then once we have that order, we're going to dive into the overview and dial in to the specific pieces, how they build on top of each other. So we're going to build a foundational understanding of the software. And this is how we're getting people off the street within 7 to 10 days of never seeing the software and up and running almost 100% efficiently. So you can do this too in your business. And I'm going to show you, this is how we did it in mine. But basically, we went in to lead source tracking, referral tracking, commercial versus residential. So same exact thing we built in SA. We went a little bit deeper here, but the video plays live here. And like I said, they're anywhere from 3 minutes to a minute long. Same exact thing we built out right inside Service Autopilot. This is the ideal first step. And if you take it to the next level, the reason why we took it to the next level is we weren't able to automate the testing inside SA. So we went in and used the quizzes feature here, and we had 6 questions that have to get 100% right to get to the next level. So do you need to select a cell phone carrier if you are using two-way texting and automations? Which is false. It is a legacy feature. So the idea is we run them through some knowledge, and if they get the question wrong, we did the same exact thing here inside Service Autopilot. Actually, I take that back. We do have the skill review testing. So this is a new updated version. So we did build the actual testing inside SA as well. And if memory serves me, we built it over in the Learning Hub to have more analytics of tracking. But basically, you can do this testing inside SA as well. And if you don't get 100% based on the logic and the automation, you can drive them back to the beginning. And when they get it wrong, we actually provide supplemental information of, this is what you answered, but this is why you should have answered this. So the idea is we're not going to force them to keep going back and guessing. We are going to go in and give them the data and knowledge of that they should have retained the first time around from the videos to understand it. So we're going to give them a foundational flow of this. So right inside Service Autopilot in the V2, and you can do it in V3 now, forms, we've created 6 videos in each of 6 modules, complete with testing on each video. So this is what I would recommend. Office training first. We want to standardize that operating procedure, how we enter the leads in, how we collect client lead sources, how do we estimate, how do we follow up, all the way through billing and fulfillment and running credit cards. We're going to standardize that process with an online automated video training series. So with the SimpleGrowth Level 3 automations, we include all of this right in here. But by all means, jump right in, and this will definitely help you along your way. But we've invested the time to do it. And these are most of the videos from my company that I ended up selling. Harold wants to know, will there be a replay, a recording of this If so, where will we post it? It's going to be on the Service Autopilot Facebook page as well as the SimpleGrowth page. And Harold, if you're looking for it, I can tag you and put it in the SA Facebook group as well. But good to see you, brother, on the SA Weekly Talk Show. So first thing is we're building out our office video training and SA forums complete with training. And this is what we do in our sales level 3 automations by SimpleGrowth as a certified advisor. Now, next step is once we automated that in my business, we realized it works so good for the office. Why not take this out and automate it in the field? So what we did is did the same exact thing with testing. Now, this is just a kind of example, but you can see where the questions would start to go in here again. But literally, if you look at this here, we go in and the video is going to show you the video target. So what parts of the equipment, how proper use of the equipment, techniques, and what is your PPE, your personal protective equipment. So these are the things that we are going to require per our handbook in here. So we're going to go in and review that. And then we actually demo all the dead man switches, all the different things that are in there. And as you go in, I actually eventually jump on this mower. So we're actually going in and then eventually training the skill set how to actually go out and do the mowing. You'll notice we're going in, we're doing 3-point turns, so we're not tearing the grass up, and we're turning away from the landscape bed. So we're teaching them all the different ways and things they need to know to be able to use this mower. So this is the methodology that I would recommend. Now, if you're wondering, Mike, how did you go out and do this? Believe it or not, first of all, I recommend don't do this at your own home. Find somewhere else to do it because your neighbors will think you're crazy, but customers will let you do this at their house. But what you really need is a smartphone, a wireless mic that ties in your smartphone, and a quick $30 or $40 tripod from Amazon. You don't need anything special, and you can record it. Believe it or not, that wireless mic, if the audio is on, works great. What we're doing is we're going in for every service and every piece of equipment. We're building these over, a 3 to 4 month period. It doesn't all have to happen, but literally I blocked out 2 days and made most of the videos in my company. So here's a lawn mowing example, and we have the line trimming example as well. So proper use of weed whacker and training system. And I'm going to talk about here a little bit later in the video, once I go through this methodology, how do we go in and park and set up for success? But I'm literally going over the protective equipment and the things that are needed. Going to show in the proper technique, how to hold the line trimmer, especially up north where you don't stick edge. We still want to hit those hard surfaces at a 90-degree angle. And anybody here that uses a weed whacker with line trimmer could probably relate to this. New employees, if they don't have any experience, will struggle how to actually set up the line trimmer spool as well as the spring and some of the attachments. So I went through in the video and actually demoed how to actually not only trim, but how to actually get the line in the trimmer spool and get it in there for success. That's always a big problem when you're bringing somebody on that doesn't have experience. And if you look at it here, I've got that little wireless mic in there. And now we're going in and I'm modeling it, and then I'm moving it. As I pause the video, I'm moving the tripod around. So I actually go, I believe in this video, all the way around the whole entire property. And you can actually see it here. This is one of the older Callahan trucks here. Probably took a little snowplow beating, but this is the video that I literally made from my actual company here, Callahan's Lawn Care. And I had one of the backup trailers and some backup equipment there. So the other things were in the field during the day, obviously. So this can be done. It doesn't take a lot of time, but it will return, the value 10x. Harold says his signal is choppy. Can I get access through from simplegrowth.com? Yeah, Harold, you hit us up. We can definitely hit you up. This is more about content and how to build it yourself. But if you need some help as a certified advisor, we can definitely help you as well. But the idea is we're going in, we're going to build these out. I'd recommend getting a pad of paper, writing down all the services and the things you need to talk about. Doing it on the fly is probably not the best bet. But just some great examples here of how we could do this. And we're talking about around the trimming around this pole here. I actually scalped it down and looked at it and said, okay, this is what you should do and this is what you shouldn't do. So this was some of the training that I learned when we had a staff, H-2B workers from Guatemala, Mexico, My Spanish was no bueno. So it was helpful for me to be able to visually show the guys that this is what you should do and this is what you shouldn't do. And that no matter the language barrier or H2B or normal worker, like that resonated with everybody. So it was modeling what you should do, but also modeling what you shouldn't do and saying this is what not to do as well. So some tips on those videos as well, how you want to do this, but not getting on here and just making this up. I've got the Callahan's lawn care shirt right on here. And this is what we did. This is how we built a turnkey training system, took the videos and then drove them into those service autopilot forms for the office as well with training. And then with SimpleGrowth, we wanted some more analytics of who had been through and being able to do online certificates and kind of reward people. So that's why we built an additional mirroring package right here in the SimpleGrowth Learning Hub. But by all means, I mean, this is it. And this video is probably 5 or 6 years old. So this is not something new that you just knew in SA. You can do this and have been able to do this. Most people just are unaware of it. So based on that, I would start with the office or the field, either way, but we want to go in and just like we did in the beginning of the video targets, so learning objectives. And then if there's any PPE or personal protective equipment, we probably want to have that scroll down in there. So we're reinforcing what's in your handbook. So as an added bonus, something that a lot of people find helpful when we get into something that we call a deep dive, where people used to fly to New York, but now we virtually do them, where we basically sit virtually knee to knee for 2 days and we help you build out a production rate based estimating system. A lot of times, like 20% of those calls or those interactions in those service autopilot deep dives by SimpleGrowth is that we set up the estimate process, but the employees per se, or even the business owner, are not setting a standardized operating procedure to create predictable results to follow through on the estimating process. So it's not enough just to create an estimate process with budget time, but you need to have a process that creates predictable outcomes to hit those budgeted times or beat them with a quality constraint. So what I'm going to go here is kind of dive into this. But if you're looking at this house here and you were to pull up, let's say you're not stick edging, and there's a way to approach this, but let's just say no stick edging involved. So this is a very basic example. But if you're pulling up to this house here, would you be parking where these two cars are, here or here? Now, don't worry about the neighbors parking in front of their house or anything like that. But how would you train your crew per se where to park each and every time? So if you're watching live, feel free to put your comments or questions in there. But the way we approached it, and this may not be for everybody, is what we did is, if you're looking at it, and I'm standing up here and I had this, maybe the pen and pen, this was my weed whacker handle here. So if it's going to the left or if it's going to the right, how do we account for that? So to the right or to the left. And when we're looking at that, that is the key. So traditionally there's only one person on the crew holding the weed whacker, at least in our scenario. Traditionally, the crew leader ran the mower and the technician ran the weed whacker. Now you may switch back and forth and that's fine, no worries. But what we're looking is, how do we standardize the workflow and optimize it based on the weed whacker holding it left or right? So whatever time where the head is the head of the weed whacker is pointing. So if you're holding it this way, the weed whacker heads to the left. If you're holding it this way, it's to the right. So let's just say we're going to the left, where the weed whacker is holding it and the head's to the left as you're looking at this. So how do you go out and use that information to standardize where you park each and every time for the job? Well, this is how I'd recommend doing it. So I'm not going to park out front, but I'm going to park right here. I'm going to park to the left-hand side. So if the weed whacker heads to the left, we park on the left of the property. If it's on the right, we park on the right of the property. So we're going to play on this one. It's to the left. We're going to go in and park right here. Reason being is, and we're going to tackle the weed whacking and blowing first, and then we'll tackle the mowing. And they are going to correspond for a streamlined process. And this is how we shave 5 to 10% off every time to build bottom line profits with predictable quality control. So we're going to park right here. And now what's going to happen is the weed whacker is going to get off and literally flip that weed whacker just like we showed in the video here. And we went through and showed them that we would flip it on a 90-degree angle, okay? So that's going to be basically the equivalent of a stick edge. And when we do that, we're going to go 90 here. So across, up the driveway, down the sidewalk, cross the sidewalk, down the other side of the sidewalk, and up the driveway. Now we're going to flip that head and go all the way around the house and the beds. Flip it back on a 90, down the driveway, down the sidewalk, cross it, other down the sidewalk, down here, and all the way across. Now what we've done is covered all of our basically 90-degree angling, and we've gone all the way around the house. So Carlos on my team would say you can't break the snake, or you can't break the hose, whatever it is. It's streamlined. You can't bounce all over the place. So even if there's a tree right here in the middle, we're not going to grab it, especially in the beginning of training. So we've systemized it. Now we've ended here. So we've come up and around the house, down the sidewalk, down and back. Now at this point, we are going to go in, grab anything in the middle, up and around this fence line. If there's a play set or something, back down. I'm going to grab that pole, and then boom, I'm back at the truck. So what I've done is I've eliminated any waste and potentially somebody jumping back and forth. Traditionally, if there was a shed in the back corner of the yard or a play set or something, those are the things that are going to be missed. But we've created a predictable system. So the guy now on the mower, potentially the crew leader, overall responsible for the quality, is while he's on the mower is going to be able to see where they potentially may be missing some of these spots. Okay, now we're back at this fictitious truck. We're going to grab the blower, and we're going to go back and blow just like this here. We're probably going to blow off the whole driveway, pushing everything this way. And then we're going to go back up and around the house, sidewalk, or I'm sorry, so yep, here. And then we're going to walk up and around and grab anything else like a place or anything like that, any clumps, boom, and we're back at the truck. So what we've done is streamline that as well. Now, if it's a larger home and you got 260s, maybe that guy's jumping on a mower. But traditionally, in most of your posted size stamps here, up to about 8 to 12,000 square feet ballpark, you got one mower and one weed whacker traditionally. So by the time the guy's done blowing, that mower is probably coming on. He's picking the trailer gate up or the back of the truck and dropping it on. Now, the cool thing is, even if he gets done blowing a little bit before the guy mowing is going to be turning away from the house and blowing the clippings in. So there shouldn't be any clippings on the side of the house or the beds if the mower is doing his job. So getting into the mowing, how do we standardize that for predictable results? So the way we did it is we went in, and if the guy weed whacking was starting here and he was going around up and around here, we don't want them both starting out here. So the mower would traditionally come over here. He's going to hit the bottom, the top, and the side of the house. And he's also going to be hitting the side of the house here. So the sides and the front of the house are mowed first, and then we go to the back. And we're going to be going in and turning this way here, and we're pointing the grass out. So he's ending here and coming back down. And as he's coming back down, the guy blowing is traditionally going to be ending just about the same time. And he can blow off any grass that got on here from maybe wet tires in the spring. So the idea is we're setting a standardized operating procedure for the weed whacker to streamline so things aren't missed. And we're hitting the front and sides of the house first with the mower because we're assuming the guy weed whacking is going to get done first. And now all the debris on the driveway, sidewalks, and gutters is already taken care of. Like that's there. And we can blow it off, and we're not going to have to do double the work. So we're creating a standardized operating procedure that we can train to, and our production rate-based estimating system is going to be consistent enough to feel that bottom line savings effect. But if you're looking at, if you're wasting 5 to 7 minutes an hour with a 2-man crew, that's a huge thing. So if you're looking at it, let me just pull up a calculator real quick. So let's just say we're losing 6 minutes. So 6 divided by 60 is 0.1 times 2 guys on the crew. And we work 8-hour day. So it's 1.6 hours a day times 5 days a week. That's 8 hours a week that we're losing in inefficiency just by saving 6 minutes a day in inefficiency. And just this process right here will eliminate 5 to 6 minutes an hour. Easy. It's actually eliminated more in my business. And then if we multiply that by, let's just say, a 32-week season, that's 256 hours of saved inefficiency just by saving those 5 or 6 minutes a day. So let's just say we're breaking even at $36 an hour. That's $9,216 of bottom line profit by just standardizing this system. But it's not enough to just show it. We need to train it through the videos and then reinforce it with testing. And that was the secret to success, to standardizing something just as simple as the lawn mowing. Now, there's other tips and tricks for pruning, mulching, and other things like that I'm not going to get into today, but we literally went through and standardized that operating procedure and created a system. Even when we were mulching around little bushes, if you weren't blowing it in, we weren't dumping the wheelbarrow and moving it around there. We had a process for bulk mulch to get around those bushes without making a mess. Now, bagged mulch is a little bit different when we use that, but the idea is create a time and motion study on it, standardize it, create a video, create testing, and then have your quality control manager or your business owner go through and double check and reinforce with some positivity. So you're stopping at the job with a box full of Gatorades or a cooler full of Gatorades, some popsicles, whatever that is, make it a positive interaction and use it as a retraining and reinforcement tool. But the main things, we got to take what's in your head and we got to build it into these forms, video training for the field and the office with testing. Comments or questions, leave them below. SA Weekly Talk Show coming back at you with training systems for big profits and predictable profits through video training, systems and testing, all built out inside Service Autopilot forms with testing. Comments, questions, drop below. Appreciate you, Harold, checking that out. And I will repost this video a little bit later today, or the SimpleGrowth team will actually inside the SA user group as well as through the SimpleGrowth outlets. So we'll see you again. SA Weekly Talk Show, 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central. Mike Callahan, your host, helping you create predictable business systems inside your business by seven-figure business owners that have used Service Autopilot in their business and have figured out the way to streamline a workflow and not just have features and functions, but create a predictable workflow for standardized operating procedures, big bottom line profits. And if you've been watching Callahan's Corner or Work on It Wednesdays, where we go in, as Michael Gerber says, and show you how to work on it and not in it, the big theme lately is going in and organizing, automating, and dominating. And that's going to be a reoccurring theme here on the SA Weekly Talk Show. As some of the videos I do, as well as our guests, we're going to help you organize, automate, and dominate your market. We'll see you again next week, 1 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Central. Mike Callahan with the SA Weekly Talk Show.